You are listening to Only When I'm Drunk, Collected Poems, by Alfred Vassallo. In vino veritas, or in wine lies the truth. It suggests that a person under the influence of alcohol is more likely to speak their hidden thoughts and desires. The phrase is sometimes continued as, in vino veritas, in aqua sanitas, that is, in wine there is truth, in water there is health. The Greek expression is quoted by Athenaeus of Naucratis in his Deep Nosophisty. It is now traced back to a poem by Alcaeus. Herodotus asserts that if the Persians decided something while drunk, they made a rule to reconsider it when sober. Authors after Herodotus have added that if the Persians made a decision while sober, they made a rule to reconsider it when they were drunk. Most of Freddie's poems were written under the influence of alcohol, hence, his truth is often exposed by him. If he writes black, then black it is, and if he writes white, white is the truth. He is a man that is not afraid of his truth and what actions and happenings he has done. Truth is very difficult to express. Once when he was having dinner with his brother's family, the niece's husband was astonished that he revealed without hesitation that he was an alcoholic. The husband continuing by saying that people hide this affliction. Freddie answered sincerely, what is truth, and no one can change it. Therefore why try and hide it? If I did, I would be fooling myself.
Treeless garden. In a treeless garden I got lost, among the uneven lawn full of weeds. Nothing to hide me. All is bare and uncomfortable, without hope to shelter from the blazing sun, drying up everything in sight. In a treeless garden I remain, unprotected and vulnerable, open to attack, as the wasps surround my body, trying hard to inject me with their effective ovipositor. In treeless garden I may die, isolated and cut off from life. Existence beyond the norm. Longing, aspiring, without hope, cursed beyond reproach.
Only when I'm drunk. Dance me to the end of love. Leonard Cohen suits my soul. Song for the strong and willed, not for me, I'm out of control. Alleluia from Shrek remembered, what a voice Rufus Wainwright has, a melody which cures the weak, while my faint heart halves. Long black veil from the man in black, who had a turmoil and famous life, this song touches deeply in my heart, being in the arms of my friend's wife. I remember it well, not for the forgetful, elder couples meeting he doesn't remember. A song from the fantastic film Gigi, loving it so much it leaves me with a slumber. Both sides now a most haunting song. Begins with rose and flows of angel hair, what a talent Canadian Joni Mitchell is. Tears I shed is about my dreary life I'm aware. No genie regret dream, no regrets she sings, the French diva who stole my heart, soul and mind. Do I not cry buckets I listen to her superb voice? Exposing all the bad past from which I never get blind. Note: slumber as in physiological state.
I want to sing a song. I want to sing a song without a tune, to articulate provocative words not written, to manipulate the strained broken rhythm, to reach number one and be smitten. I want to sing a song without using my voice, to sing it in silence and without audience, to break the monotonous sophisticated melody, to show the world I am a man without experience. I want to sing a song to many hypocrites around, to unfaithful partners and lustful youngsters, to those who harmed me with serious intent, to murderers, rapists, pedophiles and gangsters. I want to sing a song with a beautiful tune, to sing emotional words which continuously leap, to sing a song of love to my beloved wife, to sing a compassionate lullaby when asleep.
Shut the fuck up. This poem reflects on a typical conversation between mother and child in this modern era, unfortunately without morals and respect. Look what a mess you have made. All the toys lying on the floor. I won't have this anymore. Go to your room and lock the door. Shut the fuck up, mummy. You're giving me a sore tummy. How dare you speak to me like that? I'll fill your mouth with red hot chilies. If you dare utter one more word, I make sure you get the willies. Shut the fuck up, mum. You're a pain in the bum. Wait till your father comes home. He will give you a good welt. You will tremble with fear when he shows you his belt. Shut the fuck up, mother. Go and screw father. That is that, I can't take it anymore. I'm going to send you to a boarding school. You will have your comeuppance there. They will use harsh punishments as a tool. Oh no, mother, don't send me there. I will have a horrid nightmare. Shut the fuck up, son. You have lost and I won.
How much do I love you, my lady? How much do I love my lady? Love is not measured by kisses, neither is by touching and lusting. Love is not beautiful, neither delicious. Love is a pure and natural emotion, one cannot borrow it or buy it. How much do I love you, my lady? I don't know, but loving you I admit. Love exists by cohabiting for long years, where love lies and love deeply rooted. How much do I love you, my lady? I do not measure it, yet I love and did. By how many fingers do I love my lady? I only love on one single truth. I love you and only you. When you're in pain, sad and unhappy, I suffer too. When I am away for days, I am very blue. How much do I love you, my lady? I do not love you because I kiss you all the time. I love you because we care for each other. You're my wife until my death bells chime. How much do I love you, my lady? I do not know, but I love you, not maybe.
Weep not. It will be hard, I know what I am, a delinquent I cannot deny. I am in need of love. Do I deserve it? Would I be believed? Would I be trusted? I know what I did, all dishonesties committed, incorrigible I cannot deny. Would I be forgiven? Would I be withdrawn from society? Oh love, how I salute you, with my heart and mind. Now it's the time for change, time for worship, respect and admiration. Love pure and illuminating, like the Christ I know so little, yet for it I will be worthy, righteous, honorable and true. It is still hard, how can I redeem from such transgressions? The immoralities committed? So great, filled with guilt, my indiscretions not an illusion, the misdeeds were a solution, though they might be, can I be exonerated from all my lust crimes caused? Weep not for me, weep only for oneself, for the hurt I have caused, the sadness inflicted. Weep not for me, weep for truth, my truth is love, one love only, now, and later. All through my sinful days, all within the woeful existence, I never meant to betray, neither to hurt, only to give love, which I gave, without considerations, without regrets, without reluctances, only with grace.
No sense, no sensibility. Love. Fitting like a glove. Rewarding. Till it becomes boring. Hate. With weakness will equate. Manipulating. The heart uninteresting. Emotions. Searching for notions. Ungraciously. Not at all friendly. Excitement. Towards sexual incitement. Raping. The women provoking. Molestation. The child in degradation. Tainted. From abusers fainted. Murder. From depressive disorder. Death. Denied of breath. God. Absolutely flawed. Punishment. Not in his establishment.
For those WHO served, I salute them, not for dying, only for bravery and blind fighting. I weep, for the waste, for the cadavers, dying in haste. I denounce wars, what slaughters, on both sides, grieving wives, sons and daughters. I condemn, why for God's sake? Leaders in error, from dreams they should wake. Loving poppies, a commemoration, showing respect, they died for their nation. God, why? Are you heartless? Killing your own? I'm speechless.
I remember and judge. Am I not a destitute man? I have walked in the direction of the iniquitous. Did I not walk hand in hand with wickedness, while I slept with the contemptuous? I had no delight, nor did I have gratification in doing so, yet I was born a sinner and I should done like one. The delight I had when I was a child, 8 years old and hysterically happy, being loved and cherished by my mother and a friend. Do I not meditate, now, about those years, as the delight changes to dismay, while gratification becomes resentment, abuse and shame takes place of cherish? I was a rose bush, planted near by a ragwort, which brought me skin rash to my skin, consequently starting to wither fast. Prosperous I never been, the wicked showed me a false way to happiness, lust was given to me freely, greed took over me, unfaithfulness became part of my life. I was like a withered plant floating in the air by strong winds. The doctrine I was brainwashed with, all the words planted in my head in Sunday schools, became sordid by the teacher who seduced my innocence, a monster disguised by a black robe and a dog collar. Will he not be judged? Will he not walk the line towards hell? For if God, is he not just, by protecting the righteous? He should perish him to oblivion. But I am not satisfied, I am in anger, I want justice to the prize I had won when I was a child. I advise against the Lord, if retribution is not his policy, just also means vindication. Yet the priest was never disrobe, the pedophile lived till he was very old, and the mother never asked me for forgiveness. I would like to alter my past, to cast away the chains, same chains which spiraled round my body for years. Perhaps, I shall laugh at past events, to ridicule what has happened, to make those abusive time vanishes from my mind, to forget. Then I will not speak of evil, no more thoughts about wrath, hatred will evaporate from within, maybe I will transform into a human being, although very late. The conscience told me to forget, to ask for the acquisition of peace of mind, to subdue my thoughts, my uttermost feelings, the obsession of which has been countable all these years. I shall not destroy the life I have still left, I shall kiss the hand that gave me sorrow, I will hug the body of the culprit, I shall become wise, I will instruct my inner feelings to abolish all retributions, for once to rejoice, lay in bed with tranquility, sleep without the cause of struggle, the nightmares shall perish, the dreams changes becoming sublime, I will wake up fresh, strong, ready to face a new life. Blessed I will be if I can achieve this transformation. Before all this happening, I need to face the thoughts that trouble me most, the addiction of alcohol which rises against me, the lustful deeds with women I shall disinherit, the shield of protection will be worn, I shall lift my head up, with pride and with joy. I am listening to the voice, the words of hopefulness I just heard, I slept and woke up in peace, I shall not be afraid of the past, I shall meet thousands of thoughts directly, face accordingly, sustaining myself with logical solutions. This is my word, this shall be concluded.
Nothingness. Nothingness is where I live. It stands in the middle of life. It is not between love and hate, reason and irrationality, truth and false. The void in itself is a privileged place, having no opposition, nothing which makes sad and depressed. It is the living of tranquility. All subjects here static. Makes me realize that my nothingness home. It is filled with everyday problems, controlled by the love of my heart. The path to peace is in nothingness. When it vanishes, so does peace. I cannot change the world I live in, but I can alter the way I go about it. I am not in need. Neither am I useless. I am aware of awareness. In other words, I am aware of changes. Nothingness is where I live. It stands in the middle of life. And I love it.
Psychotic. In hypnotic state, a deep mental disturbance, violence discharge, pressure installed in the mind, an emotional time bomb.
Forbidden and illicit love. Tormented by an only love forbidden. As it was. To the end. It created a spectacular atmosphere. In his heart the lover seeks solace. He wanted only one. A dainty woman, who captured his heart's austere. She had a remarkable stature. He knew all about it. Her past and present, covered in exquisiteness of ardor. On the first time he followed her, he had to make his move, asking her with honest yearnings, pleading to her not to resist his fervor. Whatever he might do to her, she will forgive his deeds. She loved him too. She was married to another man. In her garden under the cherry blossom tree. There he found her. He knew the house inside out. She was his brother's woman. Out there in the dark skies of mid-morning, they made love. It was the first time. It continued later for a very long time. The prohibited action had been crossed. It had been marked forever. In desperate love. They knew it was a dishonest crime. A tale. A ballad. A story. About one man and one woman. Names and places are of no importance. This is their romance. A brother. A sibling who was older than him. And much older than his wife. The beautiful romance. Under his nose came by circumstance. I am not to overlook. I am not going to approve. Neither to condemn. Nor judge for their affair. It is a mere story of love. Its powerful grip and the blindness. The words said. Promised and told. By affection and sincerity. Two hearts. Two beings. Separated by one man's gentleness. All this happened years ago. Where primitive life was known. It happened in a mansion. A huge mansion owned by a family of nobility. In it lived a servant. Though of not the elite. She was beautiful. Two brothers. One several years older than the other. Got caught by her charm and humility. The inevitable happened. That night the air turned brisk and frosty. The lovers sat in the garden unaware the husband was back. The owl cried on a tree close by. There was a sense of apprehension and fright. There they were kissing and touching. Lost in their passion. They did not bother about the danger and the harm they can cause. Kiss after kiss. His fingers were all over her. She did the same. Lost in lustful forbidden love. Bang! There she was dead on his arms, a bullet entered her head. The shock lover turned his head. Bang! That was the last time he turned his head round. The next morning there were people in uniform. They were everywhere. They found the couple dead on the garden bench. Blood was all over them. In the sitting room. There was a lone figure. Sitting in the armchair. His face blown off. The shotgun laid on the floor. Then there was silence.
How it is to love a woman for 6 years. Acceptance is the vital key word in my story. I have to acknowledge the past, for I have been living with it for a very long time. Now I have to recognize, it was just a temporary tale. The affection I have belonged to a morbid heart. I known too well that I was in the brink of suicide, all because the torment and confusion of my actions. For all the misdeeds, I should have surely died and fast. Anger constantly stayed with me for a long time. Everything I touched and said were manipulated by it. Peace and prosperity were dampened and short-lived. The daily alcohol drinking did not help at all. By that time, I knew already from the addiction I wasn't free. I grew old enough, and realized what had been done to me. I condemned those early years, and angst took over quickly. Nothing could take away the anxiety and the bleakness, for the abuse and degradation kept haunting me. I was a teenager filled with anguish, affliction and wretchedness. It left me isolated, without friends, without hope, without breath. At 14, I was already drinking heavily, and smoking too. I ruined my life at an early age. I was dancing with death alone. The anticipation and annoyance took hold of my living. Anxiety and apathy mingled with awe and boredom. The confidence within me, as expected, was shattered. Being in hell is an exaggeration, yet from it I had no freedom. I had no pride anymore. All I did was work and drink. The more I drank alcohol, the more I had time to think. It gave me an arousal of artificial hope and bravery. I only got encouragement by the demon in the bottle. My mouth when opened was with many words mostly offensive. My tongue when spoken was with many unsuitable accusations. People who heard them were grieved, upset, and offended. I couldn't help myself, as my tongue got loose and spoken truth, the same truth which gave their bodies cold sweat. The obvious hate in them grew with every word I uttered. They became frightened of me, treated me with contempt. It was not meant to be like that at all. I was a decent human being, but the past made me bitter. Even though to forget, I did try. When I met her, though courage gained, it was filled with depression. Becoming involved with a female, though young, gave me consolation. It was not an ideal match. She was 13, I was 6 years older than her. This relationship, instead of making me strong, weakened me even more. Her family gave me no opposition, but they gave me the cold shoulder. She was at school, and though working, I still had the alcohol addiction. This relationship lasted for 6 long years, though long is an underestimated figure. I was utterly on tenterhooks every time I went to pick her up from her home. The desire to be with her was great, and I loved being in her company. Because she was young, my desperation to have sex was evident. She became disappointed when I made excuses and left her early, since I never touched her. Having sex with others was my precedent. Was I disgusted with myself, with what I was doing behind her back? I think I was a gentleman, for treating her accordingly, and with respect. Yet in the eyes of many, I was being unfaithful, I was dishonest. In my head I was doing the right thing, I was preserving my girlfriend. I'm not a pedophile. If I did touch my girl, then I would have been one. That was the only reason that I was unfaithful to her, at that time. The ecstasy of having sex was beyond reason. I was addicted to it, too. I faced embarrassment from my family. They knew what I was doing was not the right thing. The empathy was non-existent. I was left struggling, holding firm to the one I loved most, a young girl now 14. She was full of enthusiasm. She wanted to go dancing. I never frequented those places. With or without her, they were not my taste. Instead I took her to restaurants, bar and cinemas. Many so-called friends were envious of me. I always had money in my pocket, not through my work only, but my mother was very generous indeed. The euphoria I had by being engaged to this innocent girl, changed to fear sometimes. Although she was young, the way she made up herself, the way she dressed, was a big temptation for me to cast away. She was seductive, yet I only indulged her by kissing her. What was in her mind, I honestly do not know. Maybe she was frustrated too, I couldn't tell. I think her parents were gratified with my actions. I had grief and guilt. They didn't see that in me. They saw me with a smile. Guilt I hid, and very well. Happiness she had. I indulged her in everything. I took her to concerts sometimes. One Italian singer came on tour. She was besotted with him, and although I did not like him, I took her to see him and hear him sing. I could see pure enjoyment in her face. I don't think she looked at me once. I was peeved, pissed off, for no reason. I had hatred for that singer. I hated the way she looked at him, forgetting how I looked at other women, with much more indecent reasons. Hope came when she became 18 years old. She was a woman. I was no longer tied to my promise, yet to my horror, I could not make love to her. Every time I touched, I kept remembering how innocent she was. When I met her she was a virgin. When we separated, though she was 19, she was still a virgin. The hostility and battles I had within me was enormous. I did not change. Instead I became worse. I was drinking more than ever. I was still unfaithful to her, and above all I was discontented. Humiliation battled with my conscience. Jealousy took over. I did not let her do anything on her own. She started to work in a factory. I was appalled. Joy turned to loneliness. Love for her changed to lust. Outraged with her mother for encouraging her to work, I panicked. I thought I was going to lose her. With my obsession I made a decision. I wanted her to be mine always. I wanted her to quit working. It was a pity that what I planned did not succeed. Through my obsessiveness, I had decided to make love to her for the first time, get her pregnant, marry her in few short months. I was all geared up for it. I even borrowed a flat from a work colleague, After all, she was of age, I had the right for some pleasure with her. I thought she was going to be enraged, yet when I told what I was going to do, that I wanted to make love to her, she did not reject. Shyly she said it was up to me. I could not believe how a 19-year-old can behave in this way. She was one in a million, and that is why I still grieve for her. The flat key was in my pocket that morning. I was all prepared. Through my conscience, I think, I started drinking heavier that morning. When I went to meet her, I was loaded but not drunk. I took her to the usual place, where I drank my whiskey and she had cokes. With regret I kept drinking glass after glass. That was the only way to forbid me from corrupting my innocent girl. I was so much in love with her, I did not want to put her to shame. Many years later, the only remorse and resentment I have, was what she told me. Few years ago, we met for the first time. After 32 years, I went to visit my country. I was shocked with what she told me. After we broke our engagement, she was like a caged bird being released. She got married when she was 29, but before that is, through 10 years after we split, she became promiscuous. She went out daily to nightclubs and so forth, stayed late nights out, while her family were furious. Obviously her shyness had vanished. It was hard to believe, yet I know, she told me the truth. I felt sadness in my heart. I face guilt all over again. I starting suffering, thinking that this happened because of my actions. I kept her in blindness for 6 whole years, and when she finally starting to see, she enjoyed what she saw too much. To my other surprise, although when we met again, we cuddled and kissed, I still did not make love to her. I was 58 and she was 52. I still don't regret that. In my mind I thought that if I made love to her, I won't think of her as I still do now, with respect and pure love. This was a story of true love. I am not ashamed of it. I am very proud.
The CRY of the OWL. The air turned brisk and frosty. As I sat in the garden late that night, I heard an owl crying on a tree close by. I sensed apprehension and fright. The next morning I tiredly woke up in haste. It was the persisting ringing that alerted me. I walked down the stairs as if I was drunk. Why people are so careless and carefree. I answered the phone with an angry voice. The death news made my face went scowl. Mother sobbing for the loss of her husband. Immediately I recalled the cry of the owl. I will never again be in the garden at night, neither in fields nor in forests if I can help it. My ears are deaf to the cry of the owl. Of death I refuse to hear, I must admit.
Shame of an alcoholic. A vague humiliation was only the beginning. With a subtle awkwardness I could not cope. I hoped it will disguise the vicious truth. The mysteries and agonies of my uncertain hope. It was only my shame that held me back. It placed me in a strange and dark atmosphere. A place full of uninvited obscure shadows. Where all my inhibitions would appear. Embarrassments that occupied my life. The days came with unexpected tomorrows. The nights followed with anticipated past. All I had left was a heart jammed with sorrows. Truth becomes confused and blurred, hiding in effect all that was erred.
Portrait of an alcoholic. Portrait of a drunkard, a man, a man, who began dying prematurely. Yes, I have taken the long and excruciating road, a road that led me through a labyrinth of wine bottles. Portrait of an alcoholic man, me, who I would undoubtedly, without question, give an arm and a leg, or even my soul away, to have another chance. To be able to rise up again, shake the filth from my body, erase the bad dreams, which infested my consciousness. Portrait of man, a pitiful one, who started drinking at an early age, becoming addicted, captivated, beguiled and ensnared. An obsession, which filled me with agony and an unhappy life.
A can of beer. Can of beer opened quickly. The demon awakened. Poured promptly into a glass. The evil summoned. A sip followed by another. And another and more. Can of beer emptied. There is plenty in the store. The mind is high. Mystical thought invades. Reality battles the truth. Nothing persuades. The tongue is loose. The fists tightened. Reason out of the window. Victim motionless frightened. Can of beer opened next morning. The demon awakens again. Poured promptly into a glass. Victim motionless in pain.
I love alcohol. Evil habit comes and stays, some hates it discarded away, others love it and stays with it. I love alcohol, it leads me astray. When I drink I fall into error, yet my perseverance is clear. I know I am a lamented fool, yet my addictions reappear. Temptation is beyond control, alcohol needed forevermore. The wine is stale and undrinkable, I still drink it even from the floor. I live in falsehood, this I know, in my head all the cock and bull tale, without satisfaction yet content. Others like me are liars and prevail.
An alcoholic's defeat. I have conceded very quickly, no point in clutching at straws. When there is no hope of happiness, I had to abandon my cause.
Future dreaming. Through tender admiration to trace. My vigorous eyes escape disgrace. The black cloud will pass away. With haste for a bright new day. Life will be pleasing to the eyesight. Sauntering in a field of daisies white. I shall bow to Her Majesty's nature. For we shall have a dazzling future. Contributing therapy to our injured heart. The harmony of our love shall never depart. With earnest desires we are strong. Bursting together in a wondrous song. We are guided from grace to grace. Hand in hand with a smile on our face. No more sorrow, tears or crying. Squalls are calmer and tempests dying. Abiding now in life's brilliant light. Crushing evil with all our might.
This is my world. This is my world. Of course, from all over nature sings, pleasing my heeding ears, to my heart joy it brings. This is my world obviously, all hope and delight I raise. The morning lights gratifies, night's darkness I praise. This is my world certainly, I'll shine on all that's candid, except for the growing evil, which amongst us has landed. This is my world indubitably, my task not entirely ensured, not unless I capture freedom, from vanity my heart procured. This is our world naturally, a valid reason not to forget, though our love is strong, hate will conquer us yet.
rejected. My mind rejected me, thoughts have been nullified, rendering me insane. My eyes rejected me, they cannot see the truth, neither the authenticity of the heart. My nose rejected me, it doesn't smell fear anymore, nor does it favor the perfumed feelings. My mouth rejected me, it will not speak out real words of love, it only mumbles lust. My arms rejected me, reaching is out of bounds, touching is also forbidden. My stomach rejected me, the taste buds gone sour, only for sexual appetite. My legs rejected me, they walk opposite ways of my freedom, striding on without purpose. As the body rejected all that is normal, I shall accept release and immunity, dying is the only way out.
Lament of my life. In a world of love I was befittingly born. A time of respect and appreciation. In one instinct I became destitute. With one wrong step I fell into depreciation. It had nothing to do with love or hate. Money matters was neither the case. In one instinct a life was dismantled. By falling into an alcoholic gripping pause. The world of love became a world of fantasy. The status of mind was neither there or here. A life filled with downs and never ups. A time when I constantly quaked with fear. A family who brought me up with dignity and love. Yet the presence of alcohol was never absent. The elephant in the room was ever absent. Decent people living with benign content. Now I have been released from life. I have ample time to think and contemplate. Would I destroy the gracious grape seed? So it will never make my life disintegrate. Would I be able to eliminate the alcoholic thought? I'll reinvent a justified reason for its production. Though alcohol is also an ingredient of cleanliness, we mainly use it for pleasure and destruction. I can't condemn Jesus for symbolizing a cup of wine. A dignified metaphor that changed the world of life. Blood spilled, blood shed, blood reassured. Ancestry blood divided between my children and wife.
Grief of the 80s. 1980. With deep sadness I heard the awful news. My favorite stand-up comedian Richard Pryor, it was June 9th. While being in a drug-induced psychosis, he poured rum over his body and set himself on fire. 1981. It was cold December. Everywhere was covered with snow. I was living in Ayrshire, Scotland. On the 24th day, everything was in order, all was going remarkably well. I said I do, and married my wife Elizabeth Day. 1983. 1984. My wife gave birth to my first daughter, Lily Louise. She was a beautiful child, not because she was mine. Sophie Lexi was born, giving me daughter number 2. That was May the year after, on a sunny morning on day 9. 1986. Shocked I was by the sudden death of my beloved father. I was the youngest and looked very much like him. 6 months after that I was to receive the same news, the death of my grandmother Kimberly, but we called her Kim.
Unless I see the future of what is to become of me, unless I forget the past and think of the future, I can make allowance for the life I am living now. Unless I see the difference between life and death, I can die now, or maybe tomorrow, or then, unless I forget about all the regrets I had accumulated. Tomorrow I belong to a better place, I hope so too, unless I become fixated through the cause of being frustrated. The whole sun and the crescent moon intermingle, Unless the eclipse is totally out of control, tears fall, and keep falling, unless I stop crying in vain. The tragic scenes of life I created are not of use, the dramatic events which I have composed, been tarnished, the comical interludes which I had when being foolishly intoxicated, the intermission between being alive and dead by an overdose. Unless I forget all that was, my self-esteem shall become desolated. Unless yesterday can brush away what had happened, the scars of life shall command absolute and relative silence, leaving all the memories secluded with strong emptiness within. Before I perish I need restoration. Unless the truth interferes, I shall not be able to control my exhausted emotions, in the hope that breathing fresh air, in depth, shall revive me. I will wait the dawn. Unless I should inherit Cassandra and die first, then forever I should be left alone, no remembrance of me, just happily free.
End of time. I cannot see the future. Yet I have forgotten the past. Cannot tell the difference. If I died then or else I died after. Life has taken away the joy. It away the regrets. While today I belong to this place. The sun and the moon intermingle. Days gone and days yet to come. Tears fell. Falling rapidly. And keep fallen. The tragic scene of life. The dramatic events. The comical interludes. The intermission between life and death. Yesterday cannot brush away what had happened. Today the happenings continue. Tomorrow they shall grow. To live is a given, proof to die. The scars of death shall command silence, leaving a strong emptiness in the heart. Before perishing, in the depths of night, I wait for dawn. Always.
Damnation above claims. Ongoing process of control, current power of domination, domination of land, supremacy of people, people in arms settling in. Empty is the land and space, land of indigenous populations by national legislation, with people of traditions, tribal people with land rights, rights taken away from them, abused and defied, prospects refused, cultural formalities denied, observance of folklore and birthright, taken away and seized. Confiscated land by attitude, seized freedom, lost and fallen, between tradition and ethic, tribes and race. The race of originality, race by creed, with creed of hope and expectancy, anticipation of gaining immunity, the outlook of dignity, destroyed by power, where dignity is a blessed value, the values of race oppressed, forgotten people, tribes and cultures, filled with wisdom, cultures designed by morality, tainted by greed, infested by avarice, which manipulates the land, relinquishing claims, claims of originality, claims of justice, justice for all, originality preserve.
Ghosts of humans. I shall not be missed, innocent I may be, naive at times, too guilty of rushed decisions. I looked at myself, lying at the bottom of my precipice, where the heart stopped beating, my soul went in slumber. I stand in a place where the sun doesn't shine anymore. Sadness I have plenty, I haven't got enough tears, I am wrought up. I was dead long time ago, am I still dead? Isn't it strange, when death and I mutually agreed on my demise, a gift from the unforeseen bedfellow, a gracious reward, which brought an end to my horrible nightmares, forced upon me by man. Now, perhaps I am faced with mean and vicious ghosts, filled with hatred, same phantoms that conquered my feelings, in life, dominated my sadness throughout. Ghost of human beings, the worst kind, haunting me, even now.
Ever so sad. Looking so sad I know I should be. Life is short and it will ignore upsetting. I should be glad what life had given me. What's the point allowing my heart burning? I am a lost ship in a stormy sea. I need to hold her body next to mine. Feel the warmth of her never-ending touches. Making love with her for just one more time. When love-making is over we shall depart. She goes her way and I will go another. Hope we will forget about the tomorrows. Only to remember this moment and not suffer. Ever so sad we are both yet apart. Our hearts mingled in a furnace of sensations. The fire built from the weak and burning ashes will flame forever, fulfilling our gratifications.
In a while I should be gone. A voice whispered to me, life and death were in between, so near is the hand of death, how close was the arm of life, in a while I should be gone never to be heard and seen. With reluctance I shall visit the muffled place, in death came the beginning, in life entered the end, in a while I should be gone never to show my face. The arduous days are over and done with, I did live with scandal but not with faith. In a while I should be gone never to be remembered for what I did. Life meant to be something but it came to nothing, death a place where hibernation is a continuous journey, in a while I should be gone promising I shall die laughing.
Inseparability. She shows him her gratitude to be at his side. All the best memories placed in her mind. Even though her beloved suddenly died. She remembers the walks in the bleak fall. Recalling her tears she shed not yet forgotten. Now dancing together forever, standing tall. That particularly rainy day in records remain. Both stayed soaked kissing and cuddling. That was the last time they saw each other again. They loved in comfort, they were never in despair. Their strong love couldn't be measured. One dead, one alive, nothing can be spared. In those conditions they are glorified. She has got not a blemish to contain. Dancing opposite a mirror with pride. For them there shall always be tomorrow. Together forever by each other's side. Dancing the dance of death without sorrow.
Dark side of man. Speak to me or I shall die, your heart and mine will together tie, as we breathe with passion inside, nothing on earth our love shall divide. On the run we are escaping jealousy, for everywhere we go is full of animosity, time shall heal the wounds of hatred, thus peace and love will never be jaded. The great gig in the sky led by the Almighty, will match all love emotions of Aphrodite, money from hell and to hell it will lead, acquiring hatred and infidelity shall be no fuss. There should a battle between good and evil, fighting them will even be at the cost of upheaval, any color chosen should not be a taste for racism, any excuse for zealots to act missions for terrorism. Insurrection is not a cause of brain damage, it eclipses the heart and causes carnage.
You have been listening to a collection poems by Alfred Vassallo. Hope you have enjoyed them.